This is a live stream for the Discord group to kind of go over a tool that I use in my personal life called Aurora Builder. Now, Aurora Builder is actually made by one single developer, and with the unfortunate news recently being that they have stopped building it. It's pretty much set up to where it's supposed to be. There haven't been a lot of errors or issues that have come up out of it, so they kind of postponed indefinitely any more further development past where it is. They still add new files to it irregularly, and then there's some dedicated folks in the Discord server that make up their own homebrews and things like that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do with this particular video is go over the basics of it, where to get it, etc. So first thing you're going to want to do is go to aurorabuilder.com. I have it highlighted here at the top. Once you get it, you download it and you install it. I'm not going to go through that entire process because for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. Only thing I am going to add that is a caveat is that it is a Windows-only program. They don't have anything for Linux or Macs, which is a bummer for some people, but I understand. Windows is a lot more widespread, so it makes sense that they would actually use it for that. So I already have a copy of Aurora installed on my computer. So what I'm going to do here is show you how to use it. First by starting, once you get it set up, you won't have any of this. The only thing you'll have is create a new character. It looks like they have news here. As you can see, development postponed indefinitely. Sucks, but it's still a really handy program. First thing you're going to want to do is go to the additional content tab located right here. You will find the index or URLs at their website for anything when it comes to, let's go ahead and pull that back up here, additional content. Just click on that and extending the content right here. Here is the official. This is all required. You're going to want to use this. Here's the supplemental. Official content also recommended. Unearthed Arcana has a lot of playtest material and third-party content. They have an index for all of those. So the way that you get these installed is you will go ahead and click on the URL there, and it'll come up looking like this. Click up there in your address bar. Go ahead and cut, copy, whatever you want to do. Go back over to your Aurora Builder and paste it in. Once you do that, you click download and you'll see that it's doing an update. So update content files. It will go ahead and look in those files to find any updates that may have been happening. And since it is going to be a fresh install for you all, it will just download those files. And then once it's done downloading, what you'll get here is content has been updated. This needs to restart. There you go. You'll go ahead and restart it and it will have everything you need. One other thing I am going to do before I go ahead and move on is I'm going to show you how to access my personal homebrew. And I will also post the link below where this video gets posted so that you can go there. But there is a tricky way to get it. So let's start with that. Let's go back here. I have my own GitHub, which is where I host all of my stuff. You're going to get the link just like that. I may actually have it just go directly to this below the video just to make it easier for people. Go ahead and copy or cut right there. Go back over to your additional content. Click download. Bam. Now we got two. It's updating the content. If you just do this and you got all the other stuff already, you would just click update content files. It'll go ahead and start searching it. For the most part, mine's already updated. You don't have to worry about that. I do updates occasionally, just depending on the ideas that pop into my head. Right now, my Infernal Cook subclass is actually all built and ready to be used by anybody that downloads this software. Cool thing for y'all, 100% free. The only downside is no development going on, like I said. They also have a Discord that you can hook up with there if you want to make your own homebrew or learn how to make your own files. Or if you find a class in there that you're like, this seems cool, but it seems a little underpowered or overpowered and you want to kind of do your own thing, they can actually help you with getting it set up. It uses XML, so if you're familiar with that, pretty cool. If you're not, they do have a little starter guide on how to get started with coding. So don't worry about that. Never really coded before in my life. Went in there, asked a few questions, bam, on my way. Now we're going to go ahead and run through this. Let's go ahead and go back to character collection. Let's go ahead and build a brand new character. Before we get into this, I'm not going to explain everything in detail. A lot of this stuff is very intuitive and will help you on your way to creating a character and so forth. There will be times when you need to ask your DM before you can use a specific class or anything because they may say certain books are not allowed. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we are. I'm not going to change anything with the character. We're just going to go ahead and say we're building a level 1 character, and we're going to use, let's just use the option for standard array. Obviously, the other ones are here. You know, roll 3d6 or 4d6, discard the lowest, whatever it is, and you build your character based off of that. So I don't want to do any of that right now. We're just going to go ahead and leave it just like this. And whatever I build, I'm not going to be basing it off of what their skills are and where their points are. I don't really care about that. This is not the point of the video. So, create a character. Oh, yeah, if you don't put a name in, it's the nameless one. Yay! Alrighty. So first thing you're going to want to do is pick your race. As you can see over here, each one of these races shows what source they came from. So you got Princess of the Apocalypse, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Unearthed Arcana, Eberron, all of the stuff you can list here. If you don't want to have to cycle through and figure out which ones you're not allowed to use, you know, say, oh, I want to use this, but oh, it's part of the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. My DM doesn't allow that book, whatever. So you'll go over here, click on Manage Sources, right up here at the top. It says Race, all the way over, Manage Sources. You can go in here and unselect any of the things that you don't want to use and go ahead and you can either set them as the default or you can apply the source restrictions for just this character, and it will remove all instances of anything that came from those books for use when building this character or any future characters, depending on whether or not you set it as the default. Let's go back to build. I'm not going to go through a whole lot. Let's just go ahead and say I want to build I don't know, let's go with human. Pretty simple. There we are. All right, building a human. All right, what class am I going to take? Let's go ahead and say that I want to build a fighter. Let's go ahead and see. Well, actually, here's a couple other ones. Here's some fun stuff, just so you know. There are variants of classes, and this is where you got to pay attention. Looks like Critical Role has some entries in here, and then the Blood Hunter 2020 looks like they have some updates. So it just depends on which one of these you want to use, and of course, always check with your DM. I'm just going to go ahead and build myself a standard fighter. Click here. It'll pull up here. What's your fighting style? Do you want to be archery, close quarters shooter, defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, whatever it is? Let's go ahead and say that I'm going to be a 2-weapon fighter. That's going to be my thing. I'm going to fight people with a chef's knife and a turkey baster, dual wielding. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Background, you can pick here. It's got a bunch of different backgrounds, different sources. You got Curse of Strahd, the Border Kingdoms, Acquisitions Incorporated, all of this. But let's go ahead and just say that part of the City Watch. That makes sense. I'm a fighter. City Watch. All right, so as you can see here, they do have a bunch of additional features, optional variant features. If you are playing in, let's say, Out of the Abyss or Horde of the Dragon Queen, they do have the optional features to allow you to have some extra oomph to your character to kind of say, hey, I've been here for a while, let's get moving. So one thing I'm going to point out to you, each one of these things that you click on, if you don't double click on it, it will just tell you what it is and it doesn't automatically select it. The only downside that happens with this is once you've selected something, like right here with City Watch, I can't click on it and remember what it says. You don't have to worry about that. Most of that stuff is going to be loaded in your character sheet for you to reread at your leisure. If you do want to change it though, click the X right here, bam, deselect it, and you can go back and pick your background again. So for this instance, I don't know why. Maybe they just wanted to add some flair to it, or maybe it's something that I don't remember from the player's handbook. They allow you 2 personality traits. You don't have to select them. But if you select 2 of them, it will automatically carry forward. And that's one thing I do need to point out to you all. It is an option over here, selection flow. If you unselect that, it will not automatically carry on to the next page once you've completed with the page you're currently on. I always leave it selected because I find it much easier to pick my stuff and get moving forward. If you go back manually to a page before that, it won't automatically push you through, so you don't have to worry about that. So let's get back to it. Personality traits. I'm always polite and respectful. I don't want to pick a second one. I'm just going to go ahead and select that one a second time. Let's see. I'm going to do greater good. That's my ideal. Let's do that. My bond. I will fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Alrighty. And a flaw. Let's see. My hatred of my enemies is blind and unreasoning. That seems like the perfect thing to put on someone who will protect anyone at all costs. All right. So, as a human, you automatically understand Common and whatever other languages they allow you to do. So, these are the additional languages that you get to select from, based on whatever your background, class, etc. are. So, for this instance, let's go ahead and pick something weird. I live near an ocean, so I speak merfolk. I didn't know that was a thing, but cool. And weird. They have some strange. Oh, I guess that's from plane shift. That makes sense why they wouldn't have that. And let's just say that I'm not exactly always been the top shelf guy that I am today. I speak undercommon. I came from a very strange place, everyone. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to discuss it. And that's my language from the City Watch. Maybe I'm an investigator. Who knows? And I speak Elvish. I don't know. What a weird human. I speak Common and a bunch of random stuff. Works for me. All right. Skill proficiency as a fighter. If you're a fighter and you don't take survival, I'm not going to say you're going to die, but you're going to die. And animal handling, because you're out in the woods or you're city guard, so obviously you live in a wooded area. Let's take animal handling. Those stray cats can get out of whack, and you don't want to deal with that. So here is the next stage. Manage your character. You can change the name here if you didn't set one originally, or if you want, let's do something fun. Random. Bran Lackman. Sounds like a cereal that's missing something. Let's move on. So you can pick your gender. You can actually say female, male, or construct. I don't know. I haven't found a way to edit those to make them differently. I think that's hard coded in. So if you have a problem with gender preferences, I'm very sorry. Just try to work within the system, I guess, unfortunately. Alignment, you don't have to pick one, but they have all the major ones here. Everything from lawful good to chaotic evil. But just remember, everyone, evil is a human construct. It's just one person's viewpoint over another. All right, and deities. You can create your own deities and add them in here, which is awesome. It takes a little bit of the XML stuff that I was talking about earlier, and like I said, that is a whole nother bag of cats. I am not going to go into that, so we're not going to worry about it. But if you do happen to worship something, you can select it here, and they have quite a plethora. Let's say that this poor misguided fighter is worshiping probably the worst choice in the history of good fighters ever. And let's just say he worships Jeff. Maybe he doesn't know any better. Shh, don't tell him. All right, here you go. You can put your age, your height, your weight, color of your eyes, color your skin, I think. Yes. There you go. Apparently furry is a skin color, so cool. Hair. They got some different stuff in there, but it's not as much as you would like. I don't know if you can. Let's go ahead and try to say pink. Can you type in something manually? Yes, you can. So if it's not in the list there, bam, do it anyway. You're all good to go. Additional features right down here at the bottom. Does your character have any additional features that are from different source than your race, class, or background? This is where you'd put that in. Like if you built something with your DM specifically that said, hey, I have these things that are going to be noted in my background, but I also have a very strange tail coming out of my forehead. I talked to a weird guy with a chef's hat on, and since then my life has been a shambles, and I now have a tail growing out of my head. I'm not sure what's going on, but that is an additional feature for my character, and now I'm going to make a note of it. There you go. So let's say we are done with that, And let's head over to backstory. This is automatically filled in by all the stuff you selected previously. If, like me, you just wanted to get the personality traits out of the way, but you now have 2 of them there, let's go ahead and just delete that. Bam, now you're down to 1. This is the only stuff that will populate manually on your sheet, or automatically on your sheet based off of what you've already picked. So there you go. It's going to go through your ideals, and we'll get to that in a minute. It'll all become a lot more clear. If you do have any specific things you want to change about your backstory, this just loads the basic backstory based on whatever your background is. If you want to go in and manually tweak some stuff, this is where you do it. So you can say, instead of might have been part of the city watch of Waterdeep or the baton-wielding police force of the City of Splendors, you can actually go ahead, erase all that, and just actually put your backstory in there, and it will be included on your character sheet. I do not want to go through the process of writing an entire backstory while I'm recording this, so we're just going to go ahead and say, yeah, Waterdeep sounds good. So if there's nothing else you want to change here, you've got class feature shows down here. This will also show up on your sheet. If for whatever reason you want to have a random trinket, or your class says get a random trinket, you can either drop down this list right here, and it is long, and find the piece you want, or bam, random trinket. A mechanical canary inside a gnome-crafted lamp. What a strange thing for a fighter of the city of Waterdeep to have in his possession, but, to each their own. We're not going to throw stones here. Let's go over to notes. Right here, this is going to not be on your character sheet unless you specifically write something in here. These are optional notes. What I do when I print out a sheet, I want to make sure that I have a notes page. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and ... Bam, right there. Optional notes that will be included in the character sheet. The notes will only be included if there's something in the notes. So I just go ahead and put ... at the top there, and it will go ahead and generate that sheet, just so I have something to write on in case I forget my notebook or whatever it is that, I write my notes in. Allies and organizations. Here's the fun part. You can go in here. If you do set something up with your DM, let's say you're playing Dragon Heist or something along those lines, and you are part of a specific organization, bam, this is where you go. So they got the Harpers, the Emerald Enclave, all of these folks, Lord's Alliance, all the way down to the Simic Combine. I have not played Plane Shift, so I'm not even going to go in to try to figure out what that is. So you select that, and then you can select the organization symbol. If you have one that you work with predominantly, or you just want the fancy symbol on your sheet, you go over here and select it. I've always been a fan of the black hand. I know that's not what it is, but I am going to go ahead and use it. There we go. And mention your allies. So if you have other stuff that's part of other alliances and allegiances that you're part of, and you want to have those mentioned on here, you can go ahead and put them here. Let's just say Stanley from the Mailman Guild, whatever. There you go. He's the Mailman Guild. I know that guy, so if I need mail done quickly or quietly, I go talk to Stanley. Perfect. And if his name is spelled wrong, I don't care. Not my problem. Attacks and spellcasting. This is where you would, if you want to add an attack, something specific that you have with your character, if it doesn't, not normally included in whatever it is that you would get from your character sheet or setting up weapons. This is where you can go ahead and put it in here. Additional combat details, if there's something you and your DM worked out, where you can do a fancy flip, and if you succeed in an acrobatics check, not only do you flip over them, you cut a piece of their hair off, and you can now cast spells on them using blood magic. I'm not going to judge. Homebrew is fun, but make it reasonable. Come on, that's nonsense. All right, so it does happen to skip over something very specific. If you don't manually click on here, equipment, it will not take you there. So this is where you can go and pick out, let's say I got the Scholar's Kit or bag or whatever, and I start with it based on my class or background. You go in here, you look for it. It's got everything broken down by adventuring gear, treasure, equipment packs, tools, all the way down to additional spells. This is handy because sometimes if the program doesn't work exactly like you want it to, or your DM did decide to give you something absolutely crazy, you go in here and you can add an additional proficiency to your character. This is all something you can fiddle with. I'm not going to go into it a whole lot, but they do have a bunch of different stuff. Spell scrolls. Okay, I have a spell scroll. Let's say I have Absorbing Ward. It's right there. There's the information on it, and now I have it attached to me. So for the instance of showing you what an attack or armor would look like on your sheet, let's go ahead and say I wear medium armor breastplate. Let's go ahead and put that on there. So I have a breastplate on, and I want a weapon of some sort. I'm a fighter, and I use 2 blades. Let's just say I start out with a battle axe. You have equipped battle axe, which has not been added to your tax. Do you want to add it now? Yes, I want that to be on my character sheet as a weapon or primary thing that I can use. Cool. So let's just say that this is all we get to start with is a breastplate and a battle axe and whatever an Absorbing Ward spell scroll is. It works just like the spell, I assume, with checks. So here we are. Let's go ahead and head over to character sheet. And if you want to make sure that everything on your character sheet looks fine and dandy because you don't want to print it out or save it prematurely, bam. Let's go over here and generate a preview. Here is what the spell sheet or your character sheet will look like. Dungeons & Dragons, your name. If you changed the player 1 name to your name, it'll say the player's name right there off in the corner here. It gives you your proficiency bonus. Oh, look, there's my stats. 2 weapon fighting style, second wind, all the stuff that you get with your class. And down here, fantastic. Already got battle axe added in there with your range, your attack modifier, and what damage it does, as well as your proficiencies, weapon, tool, and armor proficiencies. And look at this, our languages. We speak Common, Merfolk, Undercommon, and Elvish, all things that make perfect sense for a city guard. And here's this picture. Yes, so I didn't go into that. You can actually change the character portrait. So I will go ahead and do that right here. I'm going to go ahead and click here and say, oh, I want to find a picture. But none of these pictures look good. Click on Browse, and let's go over to my downloads. I'm sure I have a random picture in here. Ah, yes. There we go. Perfect. There is Bran Lackman, a lost fighter looking around for something. I'm not going to go into that. That's fantastic. I can't believe I had that on my computer. You're all very lucky to see this. All right, so there you go. Now let's go ahead and regenerate the preview, and it'll refresh everything on there. And now, bam, there's your character portrait. I'm probably going to make this a permanent add-on and throw it in the Discord server because that is funny. If there are any questions after you all see this video, please come to the Discord and ask them. Just come join us, actually. That's really what it is. All right, so here we are. Personality traits, ideals, bond, flaw, all your stuff right here. And if you have anything special that you wanted to type in, yes, you can exit those out and retype them manually, just like I got rid of the I'm always polite and respectful the second time listed on here. Here's your background right here, your background story, and additional features. That's where the additional features go. This will be a list of everything that you actually have on your person. So breastplate and battle axe, and it shows the weight. So hooray for that. That's pretty handy. And then your magic items that you have. So here is that page that I was talking about with notes. So all you'll see right here is ... just to make sure that it got loaded on there. And there you go. That is the end of it. The only difference between this and any other ones is if you are a spellcaster, it will generate not only a spellcasting page with the spells that you know, it will also give you the option to generate spell cards. So you don't have to go flipping through the book or grabbing your phone to figure out what your spell does. You can actually just, bam, pull out that last sheet of paper and go, oh, look, magic missile. Oh, of course, it never misses. And I roll a die for it plus whatever. All right. Other than that, everyone, this is basically it. You will go ahead and save your character sheet, and it will save in the 5e character builder under documents. So we'll go ahead and make Bran Lackman, this ridiculous, dumb character that I've built level 1. And then once you've saved your character sheet, you are going to want to save it in here so that whenever you want to level up, you can do that. It does open up in the PDF file when you save it like that. So here we are. Save character. And there's Bran Lackman. Now, I'm going to show you real quick into this video. I want to make sure that you are able to level up your character. Bam. Level up. Let's say I've done magical things as a fighter. That makes perfect sense. Yes, I'm going to level my character up. Bam. Level up. Also, look at this. Multi-class. You can actually multi-class in here too. I don't want to do that. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can do that. Level up in HP. We're going to go ahead and level him up to level 2 in fighter. And if you get anything from it, it will go ahead and take you back. Here it is. Multi-class. So multi-class level 2. You just go back over to class and it will give you the stuff. Let's go ahead and say that he is fighter artificer and blood hunter. He's level 4 and he's absolutely absurd. I love it. And let's save him. Yes, it already exists. I'm aware. Let's save over it. Now let's go back over here, since this is a good time to show you that at level 4, he is a level 2 human fighter, artificer, and blood hunter. And it shows each one of the levels independently. So generate a preview, and let's see what this magical monster looks like. Yes, magical tinkering, blood maledict. It's got all of your stuff on here from all of your various classes. It will update as it goes. No matter what you choose, it will give you all the abilities you're allowed to have. And look, artificer, check this out. All your stuff. Yay! All right, I think I've sufficiently confused you all enough. And I feel like this is the worst character in the history of characters. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. If anybody has any questions, please come into the Discord server. It will also be posted as a link below if you want to learn about this, if you want to learn about the Red Opera, which is awesome. I say awesome. I haven't seen it. I know that it's done. I know that they're working on extra stuff. It's above my pay grade. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a wonderfully magical, biscuity evening, or afternoon, or morning. Are you watching this at 2 a.m.? I'm done.